hold on, that's your audio. No matter how bad it is, no matter how noisy that audio is, in the next few minutes, I'll prove to you that you can actually recover that audio and turn it into a professional sound. Okay, you don't believe me? Listen to this my environment now, this ambient room noise that you're hearing now. It will be very difficult for you to follow this video properly with this amount of noise that is going on. But in this video, I'll be showing you how I turned this video now, this audio, into this. I mean, this is much better. And guess what? You don't need advanced knowledge to do this. Now, without further ado, you need 3 particular tools to solve this your problem. The first one is, of course, Adobe Premiere Pro itself. And the second one is Adobe Audition. And thirdly, we have Izotope RX 11 and above. If you have 11 and above, that is what you need. And for those of you that are just hearing about Izotope RX for the first time, this is one of the best, noise reduction tool that I've ever seen. This tool is used to recover audio. If your audio is bad, Izotope RX is the guy you go to. But only it is not enough. That is why you need to combine these 3 tools. Even this video you're watching right now went through this process. And the process starts with Audition. What you need to do is, first of all, open Adobe Audition, then import the audio into Audition here. Alright, this is my audio here. Let's listen to it first and see how noisy it is. Okay, so I will just play the noise floor here so that you can listen to the amount of noise in this particular audio. So you can see this noise peaking to almost minus 30 decibels here. Now the first thing you do is highlight all your audio, use Ctrl A, go to Effects, Amplitude and Compression, Amplify. So you can play around with these numbers here depending on your audio. This is usually what I do first. I try to amplify the audio if it is not loud enough. Okay, so most of the time I found 2 to be good for my mic. So I'm going to play this here. Yeah, by the way, you can test it before you apply. And then Sudan. Because of this, many people look towards this is without amplify now. None of Africa. With nearby waters when thinking about where the Garden of Eden will be located. So you can clearly see the difference now. So I'll put it back to 2 and then apply. You can visibly see the sound wave increasing here. The next thing to do is still go to Effects, Special, Mastering. Mastering is one of my favorite effects when it comes to audio. In fact, I can't do without this particular effect because it makes your audio very, very clear. Let's see what I mean. Now, this is the mastering effect. And under this effect, we have reverb, exciter, widener, loudness maximizer, and output gain. What we're interested in is exciter. You can play around these values here, and most of the time, I find that values between 0 and 20 is perfect for me. 20 to be precise is perfect. So let's just test that. Mastering effect added. Rich volcanic soil and wide variety of plants. Make it look like a large floor pipe. Compare this. That was not far away to the neighbors. So the region's green valleys. And this. Some believe that if Noah's Ark landed here after the flood, perhaps. So you can see the amount of clarity mastering gives to your audio. It made this particular audio look like I was in the studio recording it. Most of the time, I don't find myself using the reverb and other tools here. I majorly use the exciter and I set it to 20%. Always remember that every mic is not the same thing. Do what works for you. Play around with these two and get what is best for your audio. So before I apply this audio, I want us to see what happens when we increase and decrease the exciter. Further fuel theory. Some believe that if Noah's Ark landed here after the flood, perhaps Eden was not far away to begin with. So the region's green valleys, rich volcanic soil, and wide variety of plants make it look like a large life. Now that we are done with the first process in Audition, it's now time to export the audio and take it to Izotope RX. So to quickly export your audio, come to File, Export, File again, then you can choose your desired file name. I will call it Audio 1, for example, and then location, you can choose your file path. So let me just choose documents for reference sake and okay. The next thing is to bring the just exported audio into Izotope RX. Okay, so this is what Izotope RX looks like. You can drag and drop into this place, or you click on open file here. Okay, so I just dragged and dropped. Here you can clearly see the waveforms and spectrogram frequencies. This blue wave you are seeing here is the waveform, and this one here is the spectrogram frequency. Okay, what we actually need here is a tool called Dialog Isolate. Dialog Isolate is what we are looking for, and to get this tool, just check among all these toolbar here. You see Dialog Isolate, just toggle it on. In order to show you the difference before and after, I'll just take a little portion of this video here where there is a lot of noise to get the noise floor. And you must not do this actually, but just to give you a clear difference. I'll play this. You can see that this noise is peaking to almost -30. I will just highlight a portion of it just to show you how much noise it removes. And then I'll click on render. Now, before we render this is Dialog Isolate. What does it do? Dialog Isolate actually separates the voice, reverb, and noise, and actually does a very good job of cleaning your audio. In short, this is one of the best tools to recover and repair audio. So for your voice here, you can set it to 0 decibels. If you want the voice to increase maybe after your rendering, you can equally adjust this bar and increase it a bit. You can play around with the voice, but most of the time, I find that 0 decibel is okay for me. By the way, you can actually input it manually as well. And for the reverb here, I'm usually okay with -2, but you can play around and see what works for your audio. Now, this is the most important one here, the noise bar. Now, when I play this noise here, you see that it was peaking to around -30 decibels. So our aim is to cut off every sound below -30 decibels. Can you see this? So I set this guy to -30. By the way, you can put it to your own desired value, depending on your audio. Once again, you can play around this. So I've found that -30 works for my particular mic. Speaking about mic, this is what I'm using to record this particular video right now. This is TASCAM DR-10L. You can see this is one of the best microphones that I've ever used as a content creator. And likewise, I use the DJI Mic 2 as a backup microphone. You can see it here. So depending on the particular mic and environment you recorded your audio, you might want to, play around this Dialog Isolate to get what best works for you. So I'm just going to render this little portion I've highlighted here just to show you the amount of noise that was removed. So if I click render, yeah, it will take some time to render depending on how long your audio is. So if I play this, my God, you can see the amount of noise that has left this particular guy. Look at how clean. If I zoom into this place, you see how clean this particular audio is now. Look at this. Look at it. Almost eliminated all the noise there. Okay. So now I'm going to pick a part where I said something and also render it out so that you see how it sounds. First of all, this is the before.
Number 8, we move to the head of the Siam Gulf, where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers come together in southern Iran.
Okay, if I render this out, listen to this.
Number 8, we move to the head of the Siam Gulf, where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers come together in southern Iran.
This is good. This is lovely. I've never seen a tool that does the job better, honestly. So once you've gotten your desired result, all you need to do is export your audio, come to File, Export, then between this bit depth, you can choose between 16, 24, 32. Most of the time, 24 is okay. Okay, 24 is okay, but if you must, you can go to 32-bit float. Okay, so what I do most of the time is for a longer audio, I just highlight everything and then render. So it takes time to render out this whole audio. Okay, so almost 20 minutes, so can't wait. But I would love to actually render out another small portion, and I will just highlight that portion that I've rendered export it, and send it to Premiere Pro for the final processing. To export, go to File, Export, then export at 24-bit or 32-bit float. So I'll click OK, then I'll select a part. So I'm going to click Audio 1. I already have Audio 1 from the Audition, but I will just say Audio 1 Izotope. Okay, so I will save it. So finally, I'm in Premiere Pro. I will just import the audio I just exported from Izotope. Let's listen to it once again.
But colors think the other two rivers were the eye party, which is now dry.
So for context, this is it here in Izotope. I'll play it here again.
Colors think the other two rivers could be were the eye party.
To finalize this process, I add certain effects to this audio to give me that professional sound that I am looking for. And these effects are Dynamics and de-esser. Go to Effects here, or you can switch to the Effects tab here, whichever way works for you. I find it very easy looking for my effects here and search for Dynamics. Dynamics is what you're looking for. Once you have Dynamics here, this is Dynamics, just drag it and drop here. And you can see it appear in Effect Control. All you need to do, ladies and gentlemen, is click on Edit, come to Compressor, toggle on Compressor, and toggle on Limiter. What I love about Dynamics is it is a compound of effects that bring out the best in an audio if you know how to use them. Majorly what I use here is the compressor and limiter. So I use Dynamics to compress the audio, and I use limiter to make sure the audio is not clipping. For compressor, what I do majorly is to add makeup here, because if I play this audio now, just listen up.
The other two rivers were the eye party.
So you can see this audio is speaking around somewhere here, and it's actually okay. So most of the time what I do is I come to makeup and I put 2 here. Okay, once you put 2, you can see it starts increasing. For context, if I put something like 8 here, you see the difference more clearly now.
The other two rivers could be were the eye party.
Can you see? If I put something like 12,
Colors think the other two rivers could be.
so you can see hard limiter is doing a good job. It's already clipping at a threshold, which is -1 here, but I'll take this back to 2. I'm always okay with 2. Worst case, I take it to maybe 3 or 4. So what compressor actually does is it tends to bring the high part of your audio and the low part to, a balance so that it can be heard clearly. And then the limiter tends to avoid your audio from peaking, hitting that red bar. So I usually limit at -2 here. If I play this now,
The other two rivers were the eye party.
you can see it's not hitting this 0 and it's loud enough. If I still want to adjust the loudness, or I'm not okay with the loudness I'm getting here, I can come here and make it maybe 5. Okay, if I play this,
Ancient Mesopotamia, often called the cradle of civilization.
so ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the best way to process that your audio and get that professional sound you are looking for, no matter how bad. So in order to give you a final clarity of the result we just got, I'm going to place the 3 audios side by side and compare it. That is before the audio ever went into any of the processing softwares, after Audition, and then now that we just got this final result. Now let's see. So this is unprocessed at all, processed in Audition by applying, amplify, and mastering. Now this one is the final product. So let's compare the 3. I'll start with the unprocessed first.
But scholars think the other two rivers were the eye party.
Semi-processed.
But scholars think the other two rivers were the eye party.
Of course, this one still has noise in it. Then finally, the final result.
But scholars think the other two rivers were the eye party.
Okay, before I leave you, I want you to know something that is very, very important. If you want to record your audio, make sure you try as much as possible to record in a very quiet environment. Don't go to a market or a very noisy place and record an audio that is very bad and then you start struggling to repair it during editing. It's better you make the job easier for you during editing and save yourself a lot of time by looking for a quiet place to, record your audio. And if you don't have a treated studio, you can always record at night when most people are sleeping and most activities are, over. If you found this video helpful and informative, please like, and most importantly, click that subscribe button. Turn on notifications so that whenever we upload contents like this, you will be notified. Thanks for watching. I will see you in my next video.